Good morning, everyone. My name is Rich Keener. I'm the village manager for the Village of Villa Park. And today is another one of our segments where I'll be discussing the upcoming formal board meeting. In today's segment, we're going to be talking about Monday, April 23rd. And there are a number of items on the agenda for Monday. Some great items. So if you have time, please tune in or please come visit us in person. We'd be very happy to see you in the audience. But anyway, so let's start. So for Monday, April 23rd at 7 p.m., the formal agenda is as follows. So number 1 is the call to order, the roll call. Number 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Number 3 is public comments on non-agenda items. And folks, that's the appropriate time for anyone in the audience to come to the podium and address the village president and board of trustees about items that are actually on the agenda. Number 4 is amendments to the agenda. And folks, that's the appropriate time for the village president or board of trustees to modify the formal agenda. It could be remove something or ask a particular question to clarify something. Number 5 for Monday night is Environmental Concerns Commission's Green Champion Award presentation. Number 6 is proclamation recognizing April 27, 2018 as Arbor Day. Number 7 for Monday night is the consent agenda. And folks, we have 2 items on the agenda there. A is minutes from the board meeting held on April 9th, 2018. B is a bill listing for the weeks of April 2nd and April 9th, 2018 for a total amount of $744,402.52. So moving on to number 8 for Monday evening, April 23rd, is a first reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the regulations for police alarm systems and false alarms. The police department responds to hundreds of false burglar alarm notifications activations annually. Response to false alarms activations can impose an inherent danger and may take officers away from other emergency response calls or duties. Additionally, officers frequently respond to false alarm activations and have difficulty making contact with an owner or manager because alarm holders do not keep their information updated with the police department. The current fine structure for false alarm activations is too low to force alarm owners to make the necessary corrections to prevent continual false activations and comply with the provisions of the ordinance. An increase in the fine will help to reduce the amount of false alarm activations and assist the police department with maintaining current and accurate records for alarm permit holders. So folks, what's happening is we have many false alarms during the year, and it takes the police department, the officers, away from emergency or other type of duties to arrive at a location and it's a false alarm. And so what staff believes is if we increase the fine or citation amount, this will get the attention of the property owners, the alarm owners, and reduce the false alarm activations because of the increased fine amounts. And you're probably thinking, well, Rich, what are some of the fine amounts? Well, the fine amounts for the false alarm activation start at $25 and then move to $50. But if you take a look online when we post our agenda today, along with the ordinance and things of that nature, that the fine alarm citation will be close to $100 and could possibly be $300. So hopefully this will help to reduce the number of false alarms in our community. So moving on to number 9, which is a second and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the Villa Park Municipal Code to reflect a change in fiscal year. So the village is changing its fiscal year from May through April to January through December in order to improve communication and financial planning. To make this transition, we are adopting an 8-month budget from May 2018 through December 2018 and will implement our first calendar year budget in January 2019. This change requires an amendment to the village's code. So folks, number 9 is exactly what I just read. We're switching from a fiscal year from May through April to a calendar year, which would be January through December. And so what we're doing is we're going to pass an 8-month budget starting May 1, 2018. Then that budget will terminate December 31st, 2018. And then January 1st, 2019 starts the new fiscal year and calendar year, if you will. So when we talk about our budgets, this year we're going to talk about the stub year 2018. So we'll say SY 2018. But on January 1st, we'll be saying CY 19, which is calendar year 19. And then after that, it could be CY 20, CY 21, things of that nature. And so it's going to be better for financial planning and communication. So moving on to 10 for Monday night, April 23rd, is a second and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adopting an 8-month budget for all corporate purposes in lieu of an annual appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing on May 1st, 2018 and ending on December 31st, 2018. So the village's stub year 2018 budget ordinance provides for the continued provision of village services as well as significant capital investment as discussed during the village's budget workshop held on March 19, 2018. The budget covers the 8-month period from May 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. And folks, this is just our regular budget process that we do every year. So we hold a budget workshop and we hold a public hearing for comment, and then we have the first reading of the budget. And so Monday night, April 23rd, is the second and final reading of the budget. So if there's any final questions or comments about the budget, they can be addressed Monday night, April 23rd, and then hopefully the budget's approved that evening so we can file it with DuPage County and then implement it on May 1st. So moving on to number 11 for Monday night is a second and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, allowing charitable games in compliance with the Charitable Games Act. The Villa Park Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 2801, also known as the VFW, is requesting a revision to Village Code to allow participation in a round-robin style poker tournament hosted through Rockford Charitable Games Winning Charity Services, Inc. The Charitable Games Act of the State of Illinois allows certain qualified organizations to obtain a license from the Illinois Department of Revenue to conduct charitable games unless expressly prohibited by the municipality. The proposed ordinance amends Village Code to allow qualified organizations to obtain a state license and conduct or rent its premises for other charitable games. So folks, number 11 is a proposal to amend Village Code so that our VFW can rent or conduct charitable games at its location here in Ardmore and St. Charles. So moving on to number 12 is a second and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the fees for emergency, medical, transportation, and related services. The village charges residents and non-residents a fee for emergency medical services provided to them. The fees collected help offset expenses incurred for providing advanced and basic life support emergency services to residents and visitors to Villa Park. These fees were last increased in October of 2015 and are no longer comparable to neighboring communities. So folks, number 12 is a proposal to increase fees as a result of ambulances being called to traffic accidents or to your home or my home within the Village of Villa Park, or they could be to assist Lombard or Elmhurst or Addison or Oak Brook Terrace as well. And those fees, as I just mentioned, have not been increased since October 2015 and are no longer comparable to our neighboring communities. So we do an analysis every few years to make sure that our fees are comparable with our neighboring communities and in line with what's happening in the market. And obviously they are not, so what the proposal is to increase those for both resident and non-resident alike. So moving on to number 13 is a second and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending parking restriction on Ellsworth Avenue, Sidney Court, and Adele Court. Many traffic violations, including incidents of reckless driving, occur in the area of Ellsworth and North Avenue during the late hours of the day and into the night on weekends due to crowds that accumulate at Strat's Restaurant. Pedestrian safety is also compromised due to the overflow parking of Strat's taking place on the streets of North Avenue that's north of North Avenue, and pedestrians have been known to cross 6 lanes of traffic where there are no traffic standards for pedestrians present. Prohibiting parking on Ellsworth Avenue, Sidney Court, and Adele Court between the hours of 7 p.m. and 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays will help to reduce the amount of vehicular pedestrian traffic in this area, thereby allowing for safer conditions to exist. To implement the changes, an amendment to Villa Park Municipal Code Section 14-207C, no parking zones, is necessary. So folks, you may or may have not been down North Avenue on Friday and Saturday evenings, but there's a tremendous amount of pedestrian and vehicular traffic associated with Strat's Restaurant on these evenings. And some of the pedestrians cross North Avenue going south towards Strat's Restaurant. And when they do that, that's 6 lanes of traffic, and there are no traffic standards there. In other words, there's no traffic signal that you can push a button to stop traffic. So that traffic could be moving at 30, 40 miles an hour or greater, and these pedestrians try to cross those 6 lanes moving south to get to Strat's Restaurant, which is extremely unsafe. So moving on to number 14 for Monday night, April 23rd, is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the capital improvement plan. So the stub year 2018 through CY 2022, which is a 5-year capital improvement plan, also known as our CIP, is a multi-year planning instrument used by the village to identify needed capital projects and to coordinate the financing and timing of these capital improvements in such a way that maximizes the return to the public, to you and I, and anyone else that lives within the Village of Villa Park. The proposed CIP encompasses all single and multi-year capital projects with costs of $20,000, $25,000 or more, and with a life expectancy of at least 20 years. And includes all projects in this year's budget, which is the stub year, and planned projects for the next 5 years. Revenues to fund this program will come from the referendum-approved bond proceeds, a dedicated half-cent non-home rule sales tax, water supply and wastewater funds, grants, loans, drainage fees, TIF revenue, and corporate fund transfers. A copy of the draft CIP was provided to members of the board in March of 2018 and may also be found on the village's website in the Documents Center. And folks, this is another item that we do on an annual basis. So we update the CIP. The CIP is approved on an annual basis along with the budget, and then that CIP is placed on file and on our website. So if anyone, including you and I, would like to know when a certain road is going to be improved for wastewater, stormwater separation, resurfacing, it's in the CIP and it's done by year and where the funding's coming from. So if you have time, please visit our website and look that up on the Document Center. It's very enlightening and it's very thorough. So moving on to number 15 for Monday night, April 23rd, is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engagement letter with Sikich LLP for audit services for FY18. The village approved a proposal with Sikich LLP on January 26, 2015 for audits concerning FY15 through FY19. This engagement letter is consistent with that proposal, and it is necessary for the village board to approve the attached resolution to commence the audit. Fees for the audit include $21,198 for the village funds, $1,326 for each of the TIF districts, and that's TIF districts number 2 through number 6, and $3,824 for the single audit, which is likely to be required. So folks, it's that time again to audit the funds of the village, and this year's FY18 will be terminating April 30th, 2018, and then, as I mentioned earlier, May 1st, 2018 will commence the stub year. So on April 30th, 2018, we'll close out fiscal year 2018, and then we'll engage Sikich LLP, which will be doing our audit. So we'll do the audit prep coming up in the next few months, and then we'll get the annual CAFR, the Comprehensive Financial Analysis, and then that'll be in stub year 2018, and hopefully that'll be a very good analysis of what's occurred for the last 12 months. So moving on to number 16 is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a proposal from Crumweedy Roofing and Exteriors of Bensonville, Illinois, for the installation of a new roof for the Jefferson Pool Bathhouse in the amount of $39,789. The Parks, Buildings and Grounds Department recommends replacement of the roof at the Jefferson Pool Bathhouse located at 341 North Harvard Avenue. 3 responsible bids were submitted for the project. The lowest responsible bid was submitted by Crumweedy Roofing and Exteriors of Bensonville, Illinois, in the amount of $39,789. Funds for this purchase have been budgeted in SY 2018 in Equipment Fund Capital Outlay account number 6750202401. So folks, it's obvious that from my description that the Jefferson Pool Bathhouse needs a replacement of its roof, and it's a flat roof, so it's going to be an interesting process. That roof's been on that building for quite some time, and look forward to having that replaced. And of course, as I mentioned, that'll be in stub year 2018 after May 1st. So moving on to 17 for Monday night is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering services agreement with Engineering Resource Associates, Inc., for the Ridge Road Water Main and Street Improvement Project, which is from Yale Avenue to Ardmore Avenue, in an amount not to exceed $73,287. So the village has awarded a contract for the water main and street improvements to Ridge Road between Yale Avenue and Ardmore Avenue. A quality-based selection, also known as QBS, process was performed and Engineering Resource Associates, Inc. was selected to perform Phase 3 construction engineering services. Engineering Resource Associates submitted a proposal to provide Phase 3 construction engineering services to the village at a cost not to exceed $73,287. The construction improvements are funded through a community development block grant, with the village responsible for engineering costs. Funding for the project would be taken from the Street Improvement Fund, and that's the referendum account and the water supply fund. So folks, phase 3 is construction oversight, so this project will be going forward in a matter of weeks. So I'm kind of excited on another project kicking off and receiving some community development block grant funds at the same time. So moving on to number 18 for Monday night, April 23rd, is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering services agreement with Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Ltd. for the Princeton Avenue Improvement Project, which is Union Pacific Railroad to Elm, in an amount not to exceed $55,000. The village proposes combined sewer separation, water main, and road improvements on various portions of Princeton Avenue from Elm Street to the Union Pacific Railroad. We expect to receive 75% funding up to $300,000 in community development block grant funding for construction of the sewer separation and water main improvements. Funding for the road improvements would come from the Street Improvement Fund, which is also the referendum account. Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Ltd. of Rosemont, Illinois, has submitted a proposed engineering services agreement to provide Phase 2 design engineering services for these improvements at a cost not to exceed $55,000. Funding for the project would be taken from the Street Improvement Fund, which is referendum, Wastewater Fund, Combined Sewer Separation Account, and the Water Supply Fund. And folks, I believe this construction improvements will take place in the stub year 2018 as well. So we're already focusing on two great engineering projects. One for Elm, Union Pacific to Elm, and then Princeton Avenue from Union Pacific to Elm, and the one I mentioned previously. So I look forward to having both of those kick off. Very exciting. And when spring finally arrives, folks, we can kick off on some of these projects. And you've probably noticed that South Michigan is already underway, and they've put in the 72-inch relief storm sewer, and we received the snow and the rain and the sleet, and they've kept on going with that project. So again, two more projects, the Ridge Road and the Princeton, coming up Monday night. Can't wait. So let's move on to number 19 for Monday night, April 23rd, which is the public comments on non-agenda items. So folks, that's the appropriate time for anyone in the audience to come to the podium, be recognized by the village president, and address the village president, board of trustees about concerns they have which relate to items that are not on the agenda. So moving on to number 20 is the village clerk's report. Number 21 would be the village trustees report. Number 22 would be the village president's report. Number 23 would be the village manager's report, my report. And then number 24 would be the adjournment. So folks, we have a number of interesting items Monday night. And I did not mention when I went through the agenda that there are first readings of an ordinance and there are second and final readings of an ordinance. So the first reading of the ordinances, there will not be a vote, there'll just be discussion. And the second and final reading of the ordinance, there'll be minor discussion, and that's when the votes will occur that will implement that particular piece of legislation. And so, again, I hope to see you Monday night, either in person or I hope you can tune in. And I don't want to sign off yet because don't forget we have the 8 and 28 celebration coming up on April 28th. And so if you'd like to know more about that celebration, there'll be food and drink and bands from the schools within Villa Park and dueling pianos and some good food and drink. So it'll be a very good time. And so please visit our website to find out more about that and to purchase tickets. Very reasonable at $8. And then there'll be some food for sale there. And I believe More Brewing is going to supply some beverages that were made for that particular event. So I'm very excited. I'll be there if you'd like to come and talk to me for a while. Certainly appreciate that. So again, my name is Rich Keener. It's my honor to be your village manager for the Village of Villa Park. So take care and we'll see you soon.